All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Team WashU's final expo presentation. I'm Michael. I'm a sophomore at WashU studying chemical engineering and computer science.
My name is Isha. I'm also a sophomore at WashU, and I'm studying mechanical engineering and computer science.
My name is Vishali. I'm also a sophomore, and I'm studying mechanical engineering and human-computer interaction.
Hi, my name is Rich Khalil. I also happen to be a sophomore at WashU, and I am studying computer science and human computer interaction.
All right, we're going to dive in and walk through some user journeys with Vishali.
Yeah, so these are some hypothetical stakeholders that we came up with during our interview process. So this is 16-year-old Lily. She lives near the South City YMCA, but she usually goes to a farther YMCA, which is the Gateway Region YMCA, and she usually hangs out with her friends after school there. This is 19-year-old Chris. He lives near the Gateway Region YMCA, and after school, him and his friends usually hang out in the building, but there's not as many structured activities for them to do there. This is Kathy. She's one of the team directors at the Gateway Region YMCA, and part of her job is looking for ways to engage youth with the YMCA and with their community. So she's working with several YMCA leaders in the area to brainstorm ideas on how to make this possible. And finally, this is Calvin. He works at the front desk at the Gateway Region YMCA. And lately, when teens have been coming into the building, usually in the evening after school, they've been causing disruptions and leaving a mess for the staff. And so new rules which he has to enforce require that teens have to leave the building if they are not members.
Yes, so Calvin is actually based off of someone we met at the South City YMCA, Rashida, who experienced a lot of teen disruption. And one quote of hers really stuck with us. She said, "An idle mind is the devil's workshop." And this informs some of our user insights. We noticed that there was a lack of teen-focused space for teens to really channel their energy. But the YMCA has limited space, so we were trying to figure out ways that we could work in between. We also noticed a lot of enthusiasm about the YMCA 175 initiative with a new push for empowering youth. And when we talked to YMCA leaders in St. Louis, we heard that they wanted to engage youth more actively through technology. So these three things really helped inform our process.
So we set a couple of design criteria that we wanted our ultimate solution to meet. First was the idea of youth voice. We wanted to make sure that whatever our idea it was, it allowed for teens to feel like they had a place at the YMCA and that they had a voice that would ultimately be heard. The second criteria was that the solution should be inclusive and fun. We should ensure that teens always feel safe and included. Finally was universal access. We wanted to make sure that the solution was accessible and feasible for anyone to use. So narrowing our ideas down with those specific criteria, we finally developed a proposal. And this is Views, the YMCA's Youth Change-Making Hub. Views is an online platform on which teens can get their work published for YMCA affiliates around the country to see.
So the first part of this experience is our website, which we made here. It's very easy to use. We could have handed it off to the YMCA right now. It's pretty simple to publish articles. If you check out our one-pager, you can actually go to the website right now using the QR code or the link. And yeah, so there's a website with all the articles. Then when you scroll down, you can actually see a little place where you can sign up for a newsletter, with your name and, your zip code, email, all that jazz. And you can be subscribed to your local YMCA's newsletter, which we can talk about later. And then next, we also wanted to make sure we included a mobile view for Views. Because we know how important, the mobile experience is to youth, so I want to make sure we have something for them.
We also developed a newsletter, as Victor mentioned, and we really thought of this as a more modular, local level application that we could use. So teens would be able to really work on this, just drag and drop images and articles really quickly, and then deliver them into the inboxes of YMCA participants in their local area.
So then going through back to our stakeholders from before, we kind of wanted to walk through what Kathy, who's the team director, what her steps would be in setting up a Views Club. So the first step would be to register with National. She would get the templates for the website and the newsletter, and then also an instructions packet on how to set up the club itself. And then after that, an advisory board would be created, which would include students or teens and YMCA leadership. And then recruitment would begin for youth around the area to join the club. And then going back to our teens, Lily and Chris, they might start at Views as reporters. They would be able to work at a designated space at the Gateway Region YMCA. And then for someone like Lily, it would be easy for her to work at home or at the location, depending on if she can make it, due to the online nature of Views. And then both of them would have the ability and the platform to spread information about what they're passionate about.
So after some time working at Views, Lily actually has the opportunity to become head editor and has more leadership roles in the magazine at her local level. And she can also work with more regional editors as well. Chris, our other student, also convinces some of his friends to join as section editors and reporters, getting more contributions about what they want to hear about in St. Louis.
And as far as the YMCA's impact from Views, for Calvin, he might see Views as an opportunity to encourage more teens to be active in their YMCAs, and also he'll be able to connect with more youth as they continue to work on Views at the YMCA locations. And then for Director Kathy, she might see an increase in teen engagement as more youth around the area want to participate and want to get their voice out through Views. And then after publication, Lily and Chris have the opportunity to apply for articles to be on the National Views website and also work closely with other YMCAs in the area and also other teens that are in their own Views clubs.
So how does our solution address the criteria that we set before we began the design process? The first was the idea of youth voice. Teens will not only be involved in the physical creation of, but will also be the source of the content of the magazine. We hope that this will create a space in which teens feel like they belong and that they will be listened to. The second was the idea of inclusivity and fun. The magazine can feature a number of different forms of communication, whether that be art, writing, interviews, or anything in between. This will allow for teens to express their voices in the way that they feel comfortable. Finally was the idea of universal access. The fact that the magazine will be completely online was intentional. Any teen who wants access to it will be granted it. There are several ways in which Views could also be considered an avenue for youth change-making. First is the fact that Views has the potential to gather a very broad audience, with readers across the nation. Views is also youth-curated. It is designed for the youth, by the youth. Finally, it allows teens to work with digital creative spaces. In the modern age where anything and everything is moving online, it is an opportunity for teens to become comfortable, even knowledgeable about the space.
So what's next for Views? Well, first off is coordinating with the YMCA to kick off the website and getting some articles together in that process. So there's an initial round of things for people to see on the website and get excited about. And then lastly, we definitely want to make sure we're facilitating relationships between Ys and local newsletters. So students can really learn how to write articles, how to do interviews, and all that good jazz. And then finally, some issues we see coming up, definitely communicating with individual YMCAs. To solve this issue, we hope to use the National YMCA organization as a kind of a pipeline for communication. Publishing standards, making sure articles are unbiased and fact-based. And then we have kicking off student participation, like we mentioned earlier. We really want to get that on a strong start. And then lastly, we definitely want to create a packet that shows YMCAs how to start their own branch of Views so that, they don't go into this experience blindly. They know they can do it together with the youth and the staff. Thank you very much. Any questions?